Hello everybody and welcome back to the Quiet Kenku. Today I'm doing something not so different. Now you're probably wondering why I started off like that. Well, it's mainly just because I'm editing a video I recorded a few minutes ago about editing and wanted to make a video talking about a different part of editing. So it's not so different. In fact, it's not different at all. This is like an hour later. Today we're going to be talking about very basic editing techniques in my software of choice, which is DaVinci Resolve. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you can see Inception. You have me talking about me, showing you me. So what we have here is we have a video called How To, where I discuss how to create YouTube shorts out of other videos. Um, this video will probably go up before, probably after. It'll go up somewhere. It'll go up either before or after this one. I'm not 100% sure yet. But what you want to do first is you need your uncut video. So I use OBS Studio, just the regular OBS Studio, and that is how I record my videos. You can see that I have my one audio track here, I have my one video track, and to start off, that's all you need. So there are two hotkeys that you're going to want to use a lot. That is B and that is A on your keyboard. So A is selection mode, B is blade edit mode, and then the only other key that I ever really use is the delete key. You can do most of those things by just clicking. First off, start at the beginning. Now, I'm going to teach you a few hotkeys as we go, ones that I find incredibly helpful in the editing process. First and foremost is about zooming and things on the timeline. So if you hold Alt on your keyboard and then use the mouse wheel, that will, in big intervals, it'll change how zoomed in you are to the timeline horizontally. So essentially, that's often very useful because you can see the waveform here. There's more space here. That's basically just zooming it in finer and finer so that you can make more minute adjustments. If I need to cut right here, let's say I need to cut like right here, it's a lot harder to do it there than way zoomed in like this, right? You can see that at the very beginning, at 0, 0, I am on this screen. Now, I don't want to be on this screen because I need to do my intro. So what do? Well, I wait for it to get to where I want, approximately about there. About there where I start talking. Now you can see that the playhead's moving on its own. That's because I'm using the arrow keys, the left and right arrow keys, to move frame by frame. Or so moving frame by frame, I can get approximately where I want to be, which you may hear me in the background here. So now that I've got it approximately where I want, I'm going to move a little before on that ugly face. And we're going to go to blade edit mode. And we're going to, it actually will snap to your playhead. So now that it's snapped to my playhead at the moment I want to cut, I simply click, move over to selection mode, either with A or with click. You can then just click the section you want to cut and hit delete. Or you can go to ripple delete, whatever works best for you. Now after doing so, it starts exactly where I want. Now it does look a little funny sometimes, but that's okay. Now I like to go ahead and just right off the bat, click here when my cursor looks like that, where it's got the box on the right, the bracket, and arrow on the left. You want to click there on the inside, right click, and then I usually do a 60 frame cross dissolve, because that just fades it in nicely without taking too long. Since these are linked, it'll fade both the audio and video. If you have your clips unlinked, which you can do by clicking, right clicking, and hitting link clips, that'll unlink it, allows you to select individual. In that case, you could just put a dissolve on the video, but no dissolve on the audio. Either one. I prefer to just keep them linked for now. I'm yapping. I'm yapping about things and doing my intro. And then we're going to go ahead and skip a little bit forward into all this. Now, I'm yapping for a long time there, okay? I'm yapping for a long time. So I might want to cut a little bit out of my yapathon. I'm yapping for like 20 seconds before I even get into the video. So there's probably things in there I could cut out. Let's say right here, I wanted to cut out this section of video and input something over top of it. Or actually, let's say at this point, I wanted to put a little bit of a meme clip over top of it, okay? Or any clip over top. You can actually go onto YouTube and find a lot of the clips that you might see used in memes or things like that, and you can find them online. You can just use OBS to record them right off YouTube, and then you can drag them into here. Now, this is the John Cena "Are you sure about that" clip. You can actually see all of the YouTube stuff there and there, which you can use the arrow keys again to go frame by frame. And I'm going to do that until I actually hit play. We want to get toward that being disappeared. So you can see the play button in the center entirely gone, but it has not fully started the clip. We're going to cut there. And then we're going to go to the end of this. And you can see that all that pops up at the end. We're going to again just get to right about there at the end of the clip. And then you can see now I just have the part. Now you can see that thing at the top that says about full screen. So I don't want that there. Cropping here, and I'm going to crop the top and just as close as I can shave that out. Now the only other thing you want to do is find your effects tab, which I'll drag it over here since I have a second monitor. You can see all that right there. Now you're going to want to go and find 3D keyer, which if you type in 3D is right there. Now I'm going to drag this over toward the other side. And where you want to put that is right on top of that 3D thing that you found. Now you do need to go over to here, right underneath the little timeline here, or above the timeline, sorry. And it's normally on transform. You want to make sure it's on open FX overlay. And then you want to go ahead and drag your 3D keyer here if you haven't done it already. And I actually did it twice, my bad. You want to click the little pick tool and click the green. Now you can see there's still a little bit of a border there. So what I like to do is leave it on flat and up the despill. Usually I just put it at 1, just all the way to the top, and that works. You can also at this point then, oops, I still had the pick selected. Let me go ahead and boop, there we go. We're going to go ahead and we'll just use the position here. And then you can just actually use the transform under video. So the 3D keyer automatically pops up the effects tab when you put it on something. But then you can just go over to video and mess around here. You can zoom it. You can reposition it, which I'm actually gonna... I'll actually put it over here. So imagine in this case I had just said something maybe a little silly. Then I could use that. And you couldn't hear it because I don't have the audio being captured, but it's got the audio track down here that came right with the video since I captured it on YouTube using OBS. I've got the video clip and all of that. Now it does pop just and just disappears at the end. So what I'm going to do is similar to what I did with the other thing, where I did a crossfade. I think I'm going to do 30 frames. And you could actually click and drag the crossfade to even customize the size of it. And so I made it disappear at the end. I'm actually going to make it even shorter. There we go. It's kind of silly, but I like it. And since this one does not appear right away, because of the nature of the clip, you don't even need to put a crossfade in the beginning, though for some you would probably want to. But in this case, you don't need to. And there you go. It's got this really, really cool effect. You can do that with all kinds of things. Another example being, I have this, which this is a like and subscribe thing that I usually put near the end of all of my shorts. So what I'm going to do is basically clip it and crop it, add the 3D keyer just like before. I'll actually go to one of my clips right now and just go ahead and copy it over. So I'll put it right about, I'll just paste it there. And so this one's already been nicely cut, cropped, and the 3D keyer added. But you can see, because it was made for a short, this is a little small. So you probably want to just select your video track, which you can see that these two are not linked. Again, you can link things by going like this, link clips. But for this, I had it unlinked, which you can just do by clicking it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this, which is our little box here, and I want it to be a little bigger. So I'm simply just going to click with the arrows and drag and make it bigger. I could also reposition it if I want. Let's say I only want it in the top corner here. Well, I can have it in the top corner there if I want. And like John Cena said, are you sure about that? And yes, I am. So this one I also have a crossfade in the beginning, but not at the end. And the reason being is because it goes away on its own. That's the nature of that clip. So again, 3D keyer to get rid of the green screen effect, because originally I can actually show you on the screen here, that's what it looked like, is just having that green screen in the background, which was easy enough to get rid of. Crossfade in the beginning to make it pop up a lot sweeter, a lot cooler, and it does have some audio accompanying it because again the video on YouTube did. You can also get a lot of audios, just straight audios on YouTube as well. And the way you would do that is also using a 3D keyer. You want to record it, but usually those audios will have no video with them. Or let's say another example. Let's say it does have a video, but you don't want the video. You can simply unlink the clips and... Oop, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. You click on the part you want to delete and hit delete selected. So now at this point you can see there's still audio there. It would say, are you sure about that, without the video. So you can do that as well. You can also, like I was going to say, using 3D keyer, there's a lot of audios on YouTube that'll simply just have a black video track. If you don't want to delete the video track for some reason, if you for some reason just want a black square on there, that's within your right. But you don't want it to be like visible, you could also 3D key on a new on the new layer up here, and then simply click it away. Basically, imagine John Cena's face was one color, and I just wanted the audio. Then I would 3D key on there. I would take my little dropper tool. I'll just show you for the sake of it. Go to Effects, 3D keyer. I would grab this little thing here, and then click on his face, and it would make it disappear. Now again, because we're not doing that in this case, it's not going to do anything, but that is an option. So there you go. Those are a few things. That is the very basics of blade editing. That is 3D keying. That is how to like crop things and position different video clips. You can see currently that I have these 3 clips, or these 3 tracks for video. You can actually delete one of them. So for example, delete track, or you could even delete empty tracks, and any tracks that are empty will get deleted. So say I have, you know, a bunch of these, and let's say hypothetically I even have an audio track down here, a mono track. You can simply click, delete empty tracks, and all the empty ones disappear, which can be really good because, say for example, this was, I don't know, this was like way up here. Well, you've got an empty track right in the middle, and it'll simply bring it down, condensing it down a lot and making it a lot nicer, a lot easier on the eyes, a lot easier to follow. Because if you're, this is a very simple project, but if you're doing a very large project, something that's hours long, you're doing a ton of edits, you might have a music track, you might have a video, 5 video tracks or more. You might have all kinds of stuff, and so it can be very easy to get lost. One other thing I want to show you is color coding, and the reason you might want to color code is simply to make it more organized. So what you want to do is select your track. I'm actually going to unlink these. I'm going to click on the video track, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go up to clip color, and I'll make this one orange. So now you can see that's orange. Very easy to see. I can see right away that my main video track is orange. I'll keep my main audio track green. However, I could, if I wanted to, go up to clip color and make these both orange to represent that they are from the same source. You can then also go down here, and I could change the clip color on this one to olive instead of pure green, and to show that these are linked, also make that olive. Or if I want to make it a different color, I could make it purple. There's a large list of colors that you can make things. So let's say I want to make this one chocolate and this one brown. Something close, but not exactly the same. And so you can change the color of any clips you have. However, you are limited on the color options you have to the ones that show up here. You can also then clear the color, and it'll reset it back to its original color. And if I want to reset all of these, I can click drag, clear color, and it'll reset it all to its original color. Another handy tool, and I guess I'll show a couple other small things here. You can also disable video tracks. So say I want to disable the John Cena so I can't see him right now, he's gone. If I want to disable the subscribe button, there you go. And then you can bring it back by hitting the same button again to enable it. For audio tracks, it works similar, but it's just muting. So it'll mute the track. So currently, this audio track here in the center is muted. I could also mute the other one. But let's say, for example, I want only one of them to be able to be heard, and I have like 50 audio tracks. I don't want to go through and hit mute on every single one, so I could simply hit solo, and it'll make it so that only this one is audible. You can also lock a track, meaning that no changes can be made to it. It's hard to see, but I'm currently, let me actually click on it. You can see I'm currently clicking on it, and nothing's happening. I can make no changes to this. I cannot blade edit it, nothing, because this has been locked. But as soon as it's unlocked, I can do things to it again. You can also go to the transition tab, and you can change different kinds of transitions. Mainly this will show up if something already has a transition. Like for example, you can see start and end. Because the section here only has a start transition, I can only affect that, and I can change different features about it here. I could also, let me just zoom out, that's a lot easier. Go to the end, and if I add a transition, you can see the end box is able to be changed. You could also change where transitions are and things like that, although in this case it doesn't, not a thing you can do. You can change things, you can do all kinds of different things. It's very cool. You can also do the same for audio, although it is slightly different. So where this one you change the ease and the different ratios and things like that, With this one, you change the decibels, so that changes the volume essentially of the audio track. That allows you to, honestly, it's pretty useful because let's say you want it to fade out completely. Great. Let's say you want to only fade out a tiny bit. You don't want to fade completely, but you just want to transition between two different clips. Then that's an option too. Because, for example, you don't just need to add it at the beginning and end, but you can also add it in the middle. So say I want to put a 60 frame cross dissolve there, and I'll add one here too. Well, let's actually zoom in so you can see it a little better. At this point, what we want to do is you want to click the connection point, and since it's in the middle, you can actually see that for the start, it's in the middle, and is at the end of the clip. But if we click in the middle for audio, I could go ahead and, I could go ahead and change the split. So let's say, for example, this is the end of the first clip, and this is the center. It counts this as the center. So I could fade in and say fade out. So it'll go up and then goes down. There's a lot of customization you can do with the crossfading and cross dissolving. There's so much you can do, and it's a lot of fun to mess around with it. And I recommend you do if you're gonna mess with any of this, is just kind of hop in with a video and have fun. Hop in with a shorter video. This one that I'm doing currently, telling you about how to edit shorts, is 15 minutes, roughly 14 and 30 seconds. There's going to be a couple small bits here and there that I'm going to be cutting out. And so it's easy enough to do, and it's going to be a lot shorter. Now, actually, what you can see that I'm doing currently, you can see a lot of stuff just jumping around. That's because I'm holding Control and hitting Z and undoing everything that I've done during this video. You can see a bunch of stuff disappearing, and essentially, I just undid all of the work that I did during this video. It undoes it in the order that you do it, so you have to remember that when you're messing around with it, is if you want to undo something 5 steps ago, you have to click it 5 times. But it will undo anything you've done. There are other ways to undo specific things. So let's say I cut here, here, and here, and I'm like, oh man, I want that first one merged back together, but I don't want to mess with the ones I just did. In that case, you can click there. You can click and drag, right click, and then you just gotta find, I gotta find the thing here. So let's say, okay. So if you want to do that, all you got to do is click and drag these two, and I misclicked. Click and drag these two, and then you can link clips. What that'll actually do is link this whole section together. If you want to ensure that you're not gonna, mess that up or anything. To be honest, it's not a huge deal if you do. It's not a massive deal, like even with these unlinked. Yes, you can move that around by itself, but generally you're able to just lock things into place, so it doesn't make a huge difference. Because this, for example, you can see it's very snappy about how it locks into place. So it doesn't really make a huge difference. But if you're really worried about it, you can always just link them. And if you don't want this whole thing linked, you just want it linked video to video and audio to audio, you simply click and drag, right click link, and then now we have the video track compiled together, and we have the audio track. Now let's say, for example, that you want to take just this section and move it into your media tray to move it to, say, another source. Let's say I want to move it to one of these sources. Well, you can click and drag the section that you want to take. Let's say I want to take all this, and you can drag it up and drag it into your media pool, which you can kind of see here. There's a lot here. It's this one right here. This is the one that I just dragged. And so I clicked it, I dragged it up here, and now it's there. And again, let's say I want to undo that. I just Control Z, and it'll get rid of all of that. You can also redo something that you just deleted by doing Control Shift Z. That will redo the last action. And I'm going to go ahead and just, again, undo everything I did. I believe that's really all I have that I can teach in this moment. If there's anything you're curious about, though, and you're like, oh, I've been trying to figure this out forever, please do let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk about it. These are just the basics. What I've showed you today is just the basics. It allows you to do very simple things to somewhat complex things with the green screen. Things that, if you don't know how to do it, can be incredibly helpful to at least get you started. The best way to learn is honestly to mess around, to have fun, to really take a few moments and try to learn on your own time. But again, if you're a little confused, please ask down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer questions, or make a whole video on it if it's something that is video worthy. I am pretty new to it all, just like many of you probably are. However, I have knowledge that I've had to learn that I want to pass down to you. So for now, this will be goodbye. I hope you have a nice day, nice night, or nice afternoon. See you later.